YouTubers, today we're going to do the unboxing of the Bosch dishwasher. This is the SHE3AR75UC. This is the Ascenta model. We're going to be installing this today too. This has the highest rating from Consumer Reports for one of the lesser expensive Bosches. This comes in at about $650. We got this from Home Depot. They just delivered it. So we're going to do the install. So for the unboxing, I just got to remove some of this plastic sheeting. Just be careful. And then we can get the cardboard off. And the install will be pretty easy. Once you get everything unboxed, then you're just going to be hooking up the water line, the drain line, and the power. And just have to attach it to the inside of the cabinet. And you'll be all set. Comes pretty well protected with the styrofoam. And you know, it actually is not as big as it looks in the packaging. It has all this protective stuff around it. Just lift off these little pieces of wood. Get these off. And you can put these styrofoam pieces in your recycling. Notice there's some parts that come with it. Put those off to the side to get all the packaging off. And this is some of your padding for the front area. And this has your nice quick start, and I think probably your owner's manual. This has the rating for energy consumption, which is 269 kilowatts per hour per year. Uses very little electricity, very little water. This is with the silver finish. Styrofoam pieces all off, and then it's on a styrofoam base. So you can just tilt it, get it off of the base. And then I like to put my foot down. You can walk it off of that styrofoam base. They're actually pretty light. We just pulled out our Miele dishwasher that we had for many years. It's a great dishwasher. It's finally had too much problem with the circulation pump, which is about $600. So we decided it made more sense to replace it. But this is a lot lighter. Probably good to have two people though if you have to haul it around. Just getting it off of that styrofoam base. This is the kick panel. That off to the side. Now we're just going to get rid of this, put it in the recycling, and we'll do the install. Now we're opening up front, and we'll notice inside we have a few important things. So you have these little spacers that kind of help it to not get banged up during the shipping. Pull those out. More styrofoam. That little one over here, gotta get out so you can pull out this basket. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna get this drain tube out. There's our utensil basket down over there. All right. Good. A little water in there, which is good. Usually these come shipped with a little water at the bottom because these are wet sumps. If you don't have any water in there, actually add a little water, just about a quarter of a cup, because it needs to have that to start up. I've installed these before and not had that wet, and then the machine actually won't get going. All right. So I'm going to pull the upper rack out, get this piece out, remove this little string. Okay, so this is all ready to go. Close this one. Inside this packet, you have a couple things here. You have a quick start and safety guide. You have a French version of that. You have some of the extra pieces that you can order for your Bosch. You have your registration card. Good to fill this out and mail it in. Get your machine registered. That way, if there's any changes or recalls, they can contact you. Sometimes there's safety recalls and they need to be able to get a hold of you. Have your owner's manual. Give you information about your installation and also about how to use your machine. And in this one, you have some of the hardware for installation. And this one gives you one of the soundproofing pads that go in the front after you've done some of the other installation steps. So we're going to get that off to the side, put that near the kick panel and near the drain hose. This is your power cord. So that's really simple. That just plugs into the back of your dishwasher and then you plug that in. That'll be nice and easy. Got 3-prong for underneath your sink. All right, we're going to install the drain line right here, which is really easy to do. We'll be putting this end on. It does remind you though, if you have a brand new garbage disposal, you might have a little plastic plug right there. So it's showing you on this how to use a hammer and a screwdriver just to pop out that plastic plug. But if you've already had previously a dishwasher hook up to your disposal, that plug's already gone. This is only if you put in a new disposal. And that talks about you can hook this up to an air gap thing up by the kitchen sink. If you don't have an air gap, it's okay. You can just make sure that you have the drain line go through a high loop, as high up as you can, up into the under part of the sink, and then back down to the garbage disposal. That high loop is important because if water fills up the sink, it'll fill up the disposal, and if you don't have that loop, that water will flow backwards and pollute your dishwasher. So you either want this air gap thing we see in B, or like in A, I want this big loop. That's just reminding you of that. So you can take that off, leave it on if you want. And this is the one that'll go to your disposal. Comes with a kit, which will have a little hose clamp for you. So go ahead and take that off. And we're just going to squish this with a pair of pliers and get that on there. These are hose clamp pliers, but any kind of pliers or vice grips would even work. Just get that over the rubber one, and then you just want to get that onto your dishwasher. I think I'm going to go, just thinking about the orientation, go out. This way. Just going to push that on far as it'll go. Alright, and then I'll get the hose clamp all the way on there, and then I'll let go of the tension, and that'll be on nice and tight. We got it. Alright, next thing we'll do, hook up the power connector right here. While we're back here, it's fun to see this little guy here is what can raise up the back of your dishwasher. So you can spin it pretty easily by hand. You can get a wrench on there, or you can put a screwdriver in these slots and turn it. And if you go to your left, it's going to raise up the back of the dishwasher. Go to your right, it'll lower it. And then there'll be some in the front too for adjustment. At this point, I'm going to start feeding some of these things through the hole in the cabinet back here. This will bring it underneath the sink, drain hose, and the power cord. Bring power to the dishwasher. And then the fill hose, we're going to put it underneath so it can go toward the front of the dishwasher. Slide it through here, and we're going to start pushing the dishwasher back into the cabinet. And they give you a lot of room. You can reach underneath from the front to grab that hose, the silver hose. Just sliding that back, we're going to make sure the insulation, sound insulation, is nice and in position and not getting snagged on anything. As it goes in, try the other side. There we go. These are pretty quiet dishwashers compared to a lot of other models. So I'm going to pull on my drain hose a little bit now. More of it to come through. Pull a bit more on my power cord. Looks good. And I can push this in a little more. It's in there nice and snug. And I do want it to go higher though. Fill this gap. So I'm going to raise the feet. And I'll raise the feet in the back too. So you just have to kind of make it fit whatever space you have in your house. But I do want to get rid of this gap. So what I'm doing is I'm tilting up the dishwasher with my hand, and then I'll spin these guys down. They're pretty easy to spin out. And then in the back, I want to get that one too. You can use a wrench to get that one in the back, or a screwdriver, but I want to turn it that way to get the back to come up. This is where we hook up the water line. So there's a little brass thing you have to get, hose connector that's a pretty big one that goes into a little one, and the little one hooks up to here. And they're pretty cheap. You can get them at Home Depot or a hardware store. We'll show you that in a second. I'm going to check to see if it's level before we finish installing by putting some screws in to hold it into the cabinet. So these dishwashers do really well if they are level. Let's see how we're doing. So it's about right in the middle. Looks pretty good on this plane. You don't want it to be too cattywampus like that or like that. Feel like that, water flows to the front. Feel like that, water flows to the back of the tub. So fairly level. Could be slightly off is okay. Alright, I think we're good. So you want to look at a couple things before you screw it in. Make sure that this is straight. If it's not, you can grab it and you can tilt it until it's straight. Look at the side and reference it to the sides of the cabinet. Like these are straight, and you say, are these straight? If they're not, you could mess with the feet a little bit to get them to get straight. So if you want to make any adjustments underneath the dishwasher, you can move these feet pretty easily with a pair of pliers. You can do it with your fingers. You can put a screwdriver in the slot and turn it. And then there's one in the back. Kind of hard to see in the video, but it's the same thing. You can just reach in with your hand and move it. Now we're going to hook up the water supply. And to do that, your dishwasher doesn't come with this, but you can get one of these kits. This is the Eastman Steel Flex Universal, fits all models, 6 feet. It gives you one of these. But really you're looking for not this brass elbow, but this round one. Let's get that out of there. This thing. And this allows you to connect to this one. So all you got to do is get it underneath here. Open this up so you can see a little better. And I'm going to very carefully spin this brass nut. I don't want to cross thread it because it's metal going onto plastic, and it should go on very easily. There we go. Yeah, first ones didn't feel, it felt a lot of resistance. That went on really easy, so I had to get the angle right. So now I'm just tightening that with my fingers, get a little tighter. I'll get this thing oriented off to the side so this can plug in like that. I'm going to tighten this up a little bit with some pliers. So for my install today, I'm going to be putting screws into the side going into the wood, but sometimes your application is such that you need to mount it to the top, and if that's the case, you use these little guys that come with your dishwasher. So these fit in a little slot, in the metal slot, fits in the other one, and then you bend these up, and then put a screw. This locks it into the frame. You can put a screw up there into the wood to hold it in. So you kind of go into the slot, bend it, bend that up. Same on this side. Then you can use that, but it's also possible to go in from the side, which is pretty easy. So let's go ahead and tighten up that water line. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a turn with the pliers, not much. I don't want to strip out those plastic threads. I just want to get it snug. Go and put on this water line. Again, you just got to make sure it's threading on nice and easy. Shouldn't be any resistance until it gets on there pretty far. So we got this in position, just tightening this one, and then we're going to turn on the hose underneath the sink, make sure there's no leak. Whenever you do this, if you open the door, it gives you a little more room to work. You can see you got pretty good room. When you close the door, you lose about 4 inches. So this just makes it a little bit easier to do this kind of thing. All right. So we're going to turn on the water supply. Sometimes when you turn older valves, either all the way on or all the way off, they're going to leak a little bit. And that goes away pretty quick. It's just the seals are kind of goofed up. So now that leak went away. It's on full blast. Let's see if there's any leaks underneath. It looks good. We're going to leave off the panel here for just a little longer until we do the final test. Okay, we're going to do the drain line now. So we're going to pull this, as much of this into the cabinet as we can. Hose clamp. I like to use these. I like to use these more, I don't know, more standard ones. They just seem easier to work with. So, let's see if we got all that drain hose in all the way. Still got some more, that's good. So we want to have a little bit of a loop. I actually prefer this more European way of doing it. We go through the high loop, because those air gaps are pretty famous for clogging. I'm just using some of the stuff that's already up here to get the high loop going. There we go. Alright, that looks pretty good. And I'm going to put this onto here. Remember that if you have a new disposer, you want to pop out the little plastic plug that's in there with the screwdriver. There we go. Alright, we're going to get that on a little further. You can put a little vegetable oil or some kind of oil on this piece, and that can make it easier to get these rubber pieces to go on. There we go. Tighten that up. Okay, I'm going to plug it in, give it a test, make sure everything's working. Remember that underneath your sink you probably have an outlet that's dedicated to garbage disposal and one that's dedicated to dishwasher. You don't want to get them mixed up, because the one for garbage disposal only has power when you turn on the switch, and this one has power all the time. Okay, let's see how we're doing. So power light comes on, we turn it off. Make sure it's closed all the way, turn it on. Goes to auto wash, which is good. And it'll blink until you start. If you ever want to reset it or drain it, you can just press the start button for 3 to 4 seconds and this display will change. I just want to start it, so I'll just press it. And that goes solid. And I can hear things happening underneath. I can feel this. The drain motor is vibrating. Here's the fill valve right here behind this. Just bringing water in. That valve opens up. Lets water come in. So when you start these up, there'll be a lot of weird pauses. Don't worry about that. Just be patient, and it'll get going. These are the water exits the drain. So it's just testing out the circulation motor, testing out the drain motor. It does this little check before it really starts up a cycle. It does makes a lot of different noises. You can hear the speed of the drain motor picked up. Now we can hear that valve just opened up. We can see this move, and that means it did all of its safety checks, everything checked out, and now it opened up this valve and we have water coming into the dishwasher. Once it fills, it'll start moving the water around, it'll circulate. So we're just checking before we put on the panels here to make sure that it's really doing its job. So now I can hear circulation. Just turn on for a second. Here you go, turn it on again. So that's the water swooshing around. When you put on your insulation, it'll actually be not as loud, but it's already pretty good. Not that loud. So if you open the dishwasher door now, you'll see water squirting around. A little bit of water right there at the bottom. So when I opened it up, it stopped it, and then I press the button, it starts again. So another part of the cycle now is adding more water to get the water level up a little higher, and then it'll really start circulating it around. One thing we'll do today too, next, is we'll put the screws in to hold it in the cabinet, and we're going to remove a film that makes this nice finish protected, but when you take it off, it's even better, even shinier. You can see the shiny part there, the dull part here because of the sticker. I've come to many homes though to fix their Bosch dishwasher, and they never remove the sticker. When you take it off, it's really beautiful. Okay, these are more of the noises you're going to hear when it's really doing its thing, when it's really washing the dishes around. Since it is empty, it's a little louder than it would be if you had dishes in there. We're using the auto wash right now. If you ever have a keyboard that isn't working, the child lock right here might be on. You can hear it draining right now. And you just press that for about 3 seconds, it'll turn it off. Drain the water out pretty quick. Prying underneath here, pry back on that one. Keep that out of the way. That one out. Put a little light pressure there, not heavy. Okay. And it's possible even to not even have to use fasteners if you get this really in there tight by lifting the legs, but it doesn't hurt to have fasteners in there. All right. So we just closed it. We're still getting the blinking going. I'm going to hold this for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. There's a reset. So the display changes, and it's going to do about a 3-minute drain cycle. And that'll also erase any codes. Like if you had a code of some type of an error shows up, by pressing that for 3 to 4 seconds. You'll drain out any water that's in there. It'll allow you to start over a cycle, and it'll get rid of any stored codes that are in there. Now, if there's still a problem, the codes may come back on a subsequent cycle, but it's a pretty good feature. So right now it's just draining out any water that's in there. We got the screws in, and next we're going to take off this plastic sheathing that's covering the door. Starting from the bottom, I'm just going to pull. Take you a little time to do this. Try to go slow so you can get a big chunk of it to come off with you, so you don't have to do it in a lot of little pieces. So this part you can just kind of pick out, take your time. If it really bothers you though, feel like there's some remnant there that you really want to get out, you can loosen these Torx 10s, loosen them up a little bit, and then you can get to the film, because the film's kind of caught between this panel and this panel. Okay, we got that done. And yeah, now it's a lot shinier. Looks good. Right, let's do this kick panel now. We have a little piece of soundproofing we're going to pop in there. Okay, and you can kind of see there's a cutout shape. We're just matching that, and that's just going to allow for a little more soundproofing. I think this slips behind here. That goes over there. Slip that behind the hose. It's just sound deadening material. It does help a little bit. Okay, we're going to put this nice decorative kick panel on. That underneath. And we'll go ahead and put in the screw that holds it. That one, and the next one. And for this house, they have a continuation of this trim piece, so we'll put that on. So it just fits in there like that. Okay. So when you're all ready to test it out, we just got a few dishes in there. Didn't have a full load. We're going to go ahead and add our detergent. This is Cascade Complete, which is a pretty good product. Close that one. If that ever sticks, I mean doesn't lock in, just clean around there really good. Probably has some residue that's not letting it stick. And if you ever want to clean your filter, just you have these arrows line up, just turn it, lift it up, and you can run this underneath the sink. You can pull off this one. This is the fine filter, this is the macro, this is the micro. Clean it, get it nice and clean, put it underneath the sink, hot water, toothbrush, old toothbrush. You get this back in, push it down in, and I'm going to line up these arrows. So when those arrows line up, it locks it in. You want to confirm it's locked in. If it's not locked in, it's floating, you can pull bad stuff into the mechanism. So it's good to make sure you have that locked. You can pull these up and clean out any debris that build up in there. All right, so I'm going to shut that. Shut that one, turn it on, get that display, press start. Keep the solid, and it'll take a little while for it to fire up, but it'll be a good test. So it looks pretty cool. I like it. Right, we got it installed. It's been running for a little bit now, doing a good job cleaning. I think it looks really good. It's very quiet. It's only 50 decibels. So you can easily carry on a conversation. I think this is as quiet, or maybe even quieter, than the Miele Incognito that we had here previously. Looks good. Let's take a look inside. So it's just in the wash part of the cycle. Everything looks good. Close it. Press start. Alright, I'm happy with it. I'd say compared to the Miele, a little bit more of this plasticky feel, but it has nice metal components. It has a combination of metal tub with plastic at the base, but for $650 at Home Depot, that's pretty good. And it has a really high rating. I'm really happy with the how quiet it is and how easy it is to use. So I think this will be a good dishwasher. Our Miele lasted for, I believe, 18 or 19 years. We'll see how this one does. Thanks so much for watching our video, and please subscribe to our channel